The world is still reacting to the devastating body camera footage released this past Monday, showing Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson brutally murdering 36-year-old Sonya Massey in her own home after she called the cops because of a potential intruder. According to USA Today, when the two officers entered her home, Grayson noticed a pot of boiling water on the stove. He tells Massey to move it in order to avoid starting a fire. USA Today reports that the officers distanced themselves. After Grayson told Massey he was moving away from the hot steaming water, Massey replied, "Away from the steaming water? Oh, I'll rebuke you in the name of Jesus." It looks like there was some form of miscommunication as things escalated from there. As the deputies yelled at her to drop the pot, Grayson drew his gun and fired, leading to Massey's death. Now, DL Hughley would repost to his own Instagram page, letting his followers know why this news hits home, especially it being so close to the election. On Instagram, he would write, "Just another reminder of how we need to hold police accountable rather than giving them blanketed immunity like Trump has pledged to do. Thank you, Joe Biden, for weighing in and also showing compassion to the victim's family." As more hear this heartbreaking story, the people have started to rally around Massey and her family in order to provide them the justice they deserve. Today, we've got our comedy hype analysts, Sean Larkins and Marvy Hunter, on the show today to talk about it, along with DL's reaction to the news. Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
Not as good as you in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's beautiful behind you.
Gentlemen, now I want to make this very clear. When you saw this footage come out from the body cam, how did you feel about it?
Anger.
Marvin, can you allude to your anger about it?
Here's someone. What did she say when he came in there? You say what did
Don't
she
hurt
say?
me.
She said, "Don't hurt me."
First thing out of my mouth.
You know, I don't know that they said that she had some mental issues
could tell
or whatever.
something was going
yeah,
on.
something was going on there. That whole "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus" comment. But you know, you should be safe in your home. You should be safe in your home, and the cops are supposed to be there to protect you. We should not have as much anxiety as we have when dealing with cops. I know some people will say, well, people when doing crime, they shouldn't have no reason to be scared.
She wasn't
That's
doing no crime.
BS. That is BS. You could be a law-abiding citizen. And the way that things are today, I got pulled over not too long ago in the middle of the night, and the cop had me, and nobody was around, and I felt anxiety. I felt it because it's just me and him out there, and I don't know what he owned tonight. So we shouldn't feel that way.
I agree with you in terms of I think that there was some mental challenge going on, and I say this very sensitively because she called and said that she thinks that she hears an intruder around the home, and then when they alluded to the hot water, she picks it up and says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And I love God with all my heart, but I don't know if that would be an initial reaction to that I would give to something like that. So for me, if I was in that room, that would have been an indication that something is not 100% okay with her. And now it's time for you to handle the situation differently, or probably call in somebody.
Yeah, well, I would say this. I do feel for cops because 90% of them are not trained to deal with the mentally ill.
Yeah.
So that aspect, I do feel for cops, but there should be. That's what some of that money, instead of buying tanks, more guns for police. Let's get it into some social workers, some therapists who you can call that can handle that situation.
Well, you know, a lot of liberal-led entities push for that type of stuff. More training with cops with sensitivity training, stuff like that. But Republicans always shoot it down. We don't need that. We need tougher cops. We need tougher police, tougher on crime. And I'm not easy on crime myself. I definitely, you know what I'm saying, I'm about, do something wrong.
But this wasn't about crime. She never committed a crime.
But I'm saying
that
that
sad part.
the money to put forth to send them to training,
Yeah.
it's always some conservative person that's against it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's
this is the thing. You can arm the police to the teeth. Their main responsibility is to respond. They're not preventing nothing.
Yeah.
They coming after they get called. Unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where I'm getting desensitized about things, and that's sad that I can see this. I mean, when I was younger, you you to see somebody die, you had to get a Faces of Death tape to watch somebody die, or seeing a real person. I can cut my phone on and see somebody getting killed every week, and by the police killing somebody, that's even worse. That's a shame.
One of the things that struck me is we got to keep Dorito Jesus out of office. We got to keep Dorito Jesus out of office, because this type of stuff is gonna get more. He empowers this type of behavior, not just from cops, from anyone, from citizens. You know, you got more and more guns on the street. Everybody want to be a vigilante because they think they got, the law on their side. He's the champion of this type of cowboy mentality. So we cannot let Dorito Jesus back in office. We can't. It's unfortunate that you have cops that are gun happy, trigger happy. I know people that's cops, it's a hard job, it's a scary job. They show up to situations, they're scared too, but you have to have gun discipline. You cannot fire upon her if you're not fearing for your life. And even if she was closer to him with that water, scalding me and killing me is two different things. So he needs to get what he needs to get.
I agree. Sean, what about you?
Well, first of all, that's why you carry a taser. You didn't have to kill her. You could have tased her. We wouldn't even be having this conversation
Absolutely.
had you tased her.
Absolutely.
And they all carry one. So that was unnecessary. Secondly, I want to say, I was in the military for 4 years. I was Air Force, and I was a cop in the Air Force. And when I was in the Air Force, we didn't have a police union. And if you pulled your gun out, you had to have three things. The person had to have opportunity, capability, and intent to harm you in any way. And if those three things were not present, 2 or 3 or 1 or 3, you was frying. You was going Leavenworth.
Yes.
You did not pull that gun out for nothing unless you were absolutely 1,000% sure that you were going to be in danger or your partner was going to be in danger. They did not play that. And I think the civilian world needs to copy what happens in the military world.
Yeah, I agree, because that's the first thing that came to my mind. Why wasn't a taser used at first? Or I know there's rubber bullets as well in some situations. Why move to automatically real bullets, right? And then I also read that Grayson has a history of DUI and aggravated assault, and he's been bounced from police department to police department. But what also was interesting was the fact that he didn't turn on his body camera until after he fired the shot. In his case in particular, do you think that he should have been removed from the police department from a very long time ago?
Absolutely. I mean, that should be something that should be automatic nationwide. If you get a couple of infractions, you should be hindered from doing that job. The job is too specific, too particular. It could be too dangerous to have a loose cannon in there. And I think a lot of times with a lot of cops, those are the kids that got pushed down on the playground. Those are the ones that got pushed down on the playground when they was a kid, and now they're in a position of authority and they get to flex.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Sean? Do you have any comment on that?
If you're scared, go to church.
Buy a dog.
If you scared of people while you in a job, well, you got to be scared.
Absolutely.
If you're scared of fire, don't be a firefighter.
Yep.
You know what's happening in these streets, and ain't nothing wrong with being scared, but you can't and you cannot be looking at people that you police as less than you.
Yep. That's why I stopped being a substitute teacher. That's why I stopped. That's why I couldn't do it.
I mean,
kids are crazy.
Listen, if you could see the text message or hear the private calls between these cops when they don't do it, when they sit in these small towns and they bored, you heard the racist rhetoric that was going on between them. You never let them get a gun and a badge.
Yep. Community policing. You should have people who stay in the community police that community. Yeah. That's first of all. I believe in that. And then that's why we can't allow Trump to be back in office, because he's pushing immunity for these cops. Yeah. He's pushing it hard. And then the Project 2025, the whole Heritage Foundation, they're very friendly to cops. They want to remove all oversight. I say give cops more oversight. To whom much is given, much is expected. If you're in a position of authority, you can't be out there willy-nilly. I don't want to hear what they human. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all.
No, the police in New York, they got mad because they couldn't stop and frisk no more. And half of them want to walk off the job. I mean, you got mad because you can't beat people up.
Let them walk.
Yeah, and speaking of that and Trump and things that have happened in the past, the civil rights attorney that is on this case has also represented the family of George Floyd. So Benjamin Crump is representing Massey's family, and it reminded me of the 2020 of George Floyd, when there was, of course, the protests in the streets and people galvanizing. Let me make sure I don't use too much of my Bahamian accent when I say that, but they eat me up in the comments. For for justice to reign in that, because a lot of police officers were saying that it was procedure when you feel threatened sometimes for you to put somebody in that position. And I'm sure some persons as well will try to defend the actions in terms of, oh, he felt threatened for his life, that's why he drew his weapon. But
He drew the weapon, but she put the pot down, raised
put
her
it
hands, kneeled
down.
down. He leaned over the counter and shot her in the face.
Yep.
So the threat was over at that point.
He should get put under the jail.
do you think that, and you mentioned you being in the Army, Sean, do you think that
Air Force, Danielle. I was in the Air Force.
They don't.
sorry, Air Force.
That's
Oh
the
my
only
God, I
thing.
apologize.
Yeah,
I
I
apologize.
I had great scores. That's why I was in the Air Force. Go ahead.
Do you think that better tactical training needs to be done with police officers in terms of how to handle their emotions in these situations?
My solution is that you should not be able to police in neighborhoods in which you do not live. When I was in the Air Force, you couldn't pull that bullying crap. You couldn't bully people. We party with the same people that we policed. Our kids went to the same schools. We ate lunch. We ate dinner together. We went bowling. We did everything together. So you trying to bully somebody when you got off work, you could get your ass beat at the club later on that night. Mm-hmm. So if you live next door to somebody and you're a cop, you can't. Who you gonna be bullying? My son go to your son's school. Now my son whip your son's ass in school because you're just not gonna pull that on your neighbors. Plus, you have a better rapport with your neighbors as you would.
And plus, even anyone, a coach, a pastor, whoever, anybody in a position of authority, we want these people to be fair. We want these people to have empathy. We want all these things. Character matters. Temperament matters. If you don't have the right temperament, you should not be put in a position of authority to be over people.
Right.
You're not qualified. You know what I'm saying? And we know this to be true, and yet we allow people to be in these positions, and then disasters like this happen. Because they give us psyche valve. They get one like every year or 2 years or something like that. You know who you're dealing with. And he had a record of having, Well,
first of all, the police union is too big a gang. Mm. And until you break, I'm not saying you have to break it, but it cannot be that strong where they just getting away with things the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Before we close out, I want to go back to DL when he said just another reminder of how we need to hold police accountable rather than giving them blanketed immunity. And I want to expand more on that in terms of a solution. What do you think in this case? Grayson was fired and is facing criminal charges. But what do you think the penalty should be for police brutality? Maybe it doesn't get all the way up to murder, but police brutality in general, what do you think that the penalty should be and what we should do as a community to hold them accountable?
They should be face the same laws that we face. He murdered somebody. You get treated like a murderer. You work your way through the system. First of all, with his history, he shouldn't have been still on the force anyway. Mm. You know what I'm saying? There's certain, like I think aircraft controllers, they have real strict rules. You got people's lives in your hands. This is a very sensitive thing. Anybody off the street, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm ex-military too, and a lot of military go straight in from the military into law enforcement.
Right.
We know good and well, you're not mentally straight to do that. Mm-mm. You are not mentally straight. You're getting seen. You should not be no cop. And nobody talks about that, but there should be strict guidelines on that because temperament and character matters.
I think your pension should constantly be on the line.
Constantly.
Your pension should always be on the line. When you pull that gun out, think, okay, dang, my kids ain't gonna be taken care of if I shoot the wrong person.
Yeah.
You mess with somebody's money, they'll start thinking twice about the shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I concur with that. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for giving us your thoughts and opinions on this topic. But before you head out, I want you to tell us what do you have going on and where can people follow you? Sean?
Well, you make sure that you check us out on the Yeah We Talk Like This podcast. That is always coming up. I will be on, I'll be down your way in the Bahamas. I'm on a cruise because it's coming up this weekend. My first cruise got messed up. This airline crap messed me up. But I'll be back down there this weekend.
And you can catch me at Comedian Marvin H1 on Instagram and also on TikTok. And just you can catch me because I do my thing. I shows out. I shows out on the internet. That's what I do. That's what I'm known for. I act a fool.
Well, you heard from us, Comedy Hype Fam, and we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts and reactions on Sonya Massey and also DL's comments? Reporting for Comedy Hype News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Did y'all enjoy that? We got so much more for you at hypersclub.com. Our exclusive interviews and backstage content gives you the chance to feel a part of the club. Come on and join.